The topic for today's podcast is practice management solutions. How do you use it if you need it, and what are some of the solutions available in the market? And to help us understand practice management solutions better, I have here Melanie Rollason, who is a chartered accountant based in UK and who helps other accounting firm runners with getting their tech stack right. So without further ado, let me welcome Melanie Rollason. Mel, how are you? Welcome to the Offshore Accountant podcast.
Hi, Sushil. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me onto the podcast.
Why don't we start with a little introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I am a chartered accountant, like you said, and I actually qualified with KPMG back in 2001. So that ages me, doesn't it? But hey ho. I then actually, after leaving KPMG 5 years on, I then set up my own practice. So I had my own practice with about 50 clients and its max, not huge at all, but purely compliance based, mainly Excel based. And I did have a little bit of technology. I used tax calc, I used a bit of Iris, but for 13 whole years, I just ran that accountancy practice. And I then, just as COVID hit, sold that practice and decided to. I'd been absolutely fascinated by the change in tech since I started up in practice myself. I decided to venture into accountancy software. So I've worked for Tax Calc, Silverfin, and now Spotlight Reporting before setting up my own business, which is, like you say, helping accountants with their tech stacks. And there's so many choices of softwares out there that are all absolutely fantastic, but just slightly different. I mean, it's just a complete mind game for accountants out there to choose which one to use. So yeah, that's my aim in life now, to help accountants know which one to choose and how each tool can help them.
I think when you are choosing your accounting tech stack, the first thing, everything starts from your practice management solution, right? And I think this is the first thing that you should look at and maybe integrate other things in the practice management solution. So why don't you help us understand what exactly is practice management and some of the solutions that are available and what we should think about when we are choosing a solution?
Yeah, sure. I have actually got some slides, so let me just share my screen.
Sure.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So what I've prepared here is basically just have a look, like you say, at what practice management is, and then have a look at how I used to do it. I mean, it's very boring, but I've got the old way of managing a practice in Excel, and how you can now do that using 1,000,001 different tools in the cloud. I have highlighted 4 tools that I'm just going to highlight today. I have just set up a YouTube channel, which is brand shiny new, which I will share the link with at the end of this podcast. But that actually looks at each of the tools that we're looking at today. And it's all about unboxing the software, because it's so difficult to know for accountants to know which one to choose. So we'll have a look at a few of those today. And also, as well as the main tools, they all do a myriad of things, but practice management covers a lot of areas. So I've added in some additional tools there, and just a quick summary of where to go from now if you're an accountant out there just looking for some technological help, I guess. So so that's what I was going to go through. So talking about what is practice management, I've put it in little buckets here. So I guess, having run an accountancy practice myself, I would call the practice management stuff the really, I can't say it out loud, but the really dull, boring stuff that accountants have to do in order to manage their practice in the most efficient way. You'll be akin to this, Sushil. It's pretty boring having a database for client information, having a secure document storage system, sharing the documents securely, being able to communicate and track the communication, be it by email, call, notes, and just having that one system where everything comes together. I guess as well, I don't know how you do it in your practice, Michelle, but then it's all about workflows and looking at processes. So making sure that you've got your tasks set up for each different assignment that you're doing, and that you're tracking who's doing which task and where that job is and what status of that job is. Setting up recurring tasks and deadline tracking and automating reminders and notifications. So making accountancy, run itself in the background. I guess that's what you want to try and do, because nobody wants to miss a deadline. Then I think the most important thing here, because these are all standalone systems that I'm going to talk everyone through today, is their compatibility with the inevitable other systems and other pieces of software that you have got running your practice. So I'm sure that most people listening in today have got Xero, QBO. If your practice management tool has an automatic integration with Xero, fantastic. You can then enter a new client straight onto the practice management tool, and it will then create that client for you in Xero as well. So yeah, happy days. So I think integrations are absolutely key here. There are also integrations with clever payment systems. I remember when I was in practice and having to remember to physically invoice my clients every month by Word. I sent them a PDF document, and then having to reconcile that payment coming in by monthly standing order on the bank statement in a separate screen, all very dull, or even on a piece of paper. So you've got systems that do that for you now. And also, obviously, integrating, if the tool integrates and sucks in your emails and your calendar as well, almost telling you what to do and managing your inbox for you. There are even some tools that will share your inbox with your team. So everybody has got visibility of exactly what status each client is at. I think that's really quite cool. Then, finally, there are some additional features that some of the tools will offer. So letters of engagement, all of that stuff when you're taking a new client on that, again, is very dull, but really has to be done. AML checks, company secretarial side of things, and we talked about payment and billing before. So practice management is a huge beast. And I think if you can get that right, and that the smooth running of your practice then becomes really quite straightforward. You can get lovely tools to do that for you, but it does take a lot of time to set it. Yeah. I guess you experience this in your practice, Sushil.
Yes, and practice management, like you have pointed out, are a lot of things, right? And what I see in different practices is we have a different database for clients. Maybe we're using Google Drive or some other database. Then we are using Excel to keep track of some things, communicating in emails, and now too many messaging apps that we use. And so all of these things are scattered all over. And I think we need something that can combine everything in one place.
One place where all of the systems talk to each other. Yeah. And I think that is the beauty of it now. And also, I'll take you through the next slide, because the old-fashioned way, which a lot of accountants are probably still doing now and not taking on a new client, a practice management tool themselves, but the old way of doing it is really very, very basic in an Excel spreadsheet. And like you say, you might have an Excel spreadsheet with all of your clients listed down the side and all of their year-end dates, all of their, whether they're in some payroll monthly, weekly scheme or no payroll at all, or whether they're VAT registered. If you've got to do their self-assessments, when their confirmation statement's due, and any other notes on the side. And then it just has tab after tab after tab of things that you've got to keep track of. I used to have a color coding system. So green means I've submitted it, or red means I haven't. It was really very simple. And that's the sort of thing that keeps you up at night. You wake up in a cold sweat because you think, oh no, I haven't done somebody's tax return, or I've forgotten to submit that VAT return. So the idea is that, like you said, you've got a cloud-based solution that will do that for you now, that will pop up on your screen saying, yeah, you must start this task now. Their accounts are due to be filed in 3 months' time. Start it now. And then it splits that task down into subtasks to tell you to chase the client, automatically sends them an email, etc., etc. Super clever. So if I was to set up a compliance practice now, I would absolutely take one of these cloud solutions on. Yeah, it's a huge time investment at the start to get it set up, but then incredible, it can run your practice for you.
Yeah.
I shall have a look at, so like I said, I think I've got 4 different solutions here. And the first one is Karbon. I'm sure everyone's heard of Karbon. Have you heard of Karbon, Sushil?
Yeah.
Yeah. Karbon is, I'm not meant to have favorites, but I think it's a fantastic tool. It's a really fantastic tool because it has got integrated email and it has your team's email integrated, so you can collaborate and you can make sure that all of the rest of your team are doing the correct jobs for each client. It's also got a bit of AI in it, so it's got, I think it's called Practice Intelligence Carbon, which is quite nice. So it will suggest emails that should be sent out to clients and rewrite them for you, which is quite nice. And it's, you know, it's got all the time and budget, all the things that you would expect, the document storing, the templates, and yeah, it's a really nice tool. Interestingly, I picked off their website that they are saying that Karbon saves every employee 18 and a half hours per week. I mean, what do we think of that?
Yeah.
That is a crazy amount.
Yeah.
Crazy amount.
So is it each week for an employee 18.5 hours? That is
That's what
quite a
they're
lot.
saying. That is what they're saying. I mean, yeah, and it's split. It has split. This is straight off their website. It has split it down by saying that, you know, 2 hours are saved organising and accessing documents, etc. I won't read them all out. Literally loopy. So
Yeah.
it is totally crazy. But equally, I've got a little snippet of Karbon on my YouTube channel. I'd recommend having a look at it. It is in the top bracket of the price range for
Yeah.
accountancy practices. I've got the prices that they charge in the UK here. And I was talking to I talk to accountants all the time. I spoke to one guy this week who was looking into practice management tools and said that he really, really wanted Karbon, but it was coming out quite pricey compared to the others. So it's a personal choice, but it is a very nice tool. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
So take a look. Let's have a look at the next one. Senta. Now, Senta is interesting. Senta was purchased by Iris, which I'm sure everyone's heard of. I used to use
Yeah.
Iris in my practice back in the day. I used to use Iris Desktop. Now there is Iris Elements, which you can see here. And Iris Elements purchased Senta as their practice management solution, which then feeds into the Iris part of the hub for Iris. So when you log on to Senta, it puts you into the Iris Hub, and the Iris Hub for Iris Elements, which is in the cloud, gives you lots and lots of different solutions you can sign up to. So you, as well as having the practice management tool, you can have their AML tool, you can have their proposal tool, etc. So it almost puts practice management all in one, but it does tie you into Iris everything.
Yeah.
Which is quite clever of them. The other thing I'd say is that it's managing the whole thing. The practice management tool is talking to the accounts production tool, which is quite nice. So that's all fantastic, but you are tied into Iris. Yeah. So you can see similar sorts of prices, cheaper than Karbon, £24 per month for 5 users. That's it. I don't think there's much more to say there, but it has got a huge Iris bias there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Senta. Site Manager is one that I used to use myself. It used to be called Accountancy Manager, I believe. I really like Bright Manager. It's a standalone tool, but it has got integrations with Go Proposal, Zero. Can't remember any others off the top of my head. Just a really simple tool for, like it says, automating your admin.
Yeah.
Again, cheaper than Karbon, £33.60 per user per month. And the only thing it doesn't really deal with that Karbon does is have that team shared collaborated email. So it's harder for you to actually collaborate as a tool, but it's nice. I liked it. And when I signed up for it, within half an hour, I had a phone call from their sales team offering me a demo. Lovely lady. You know, she's really, really, really helpful. And I think that is really, having worked for a number of software solutions, I think it's really important that there is a really strong support team backing you up when you sign up for one of those tools that you can fire questions off to and you're going to get support from them. Yeah, that's Bright Manager. And the final one I'm going to talk about, which is a practice management tool, is Pixie. And Pixie is another one of my favorites. It's a lot cheaper, as you can see. It only had prices in dollars.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with that at the moment. But anyway, it's got unlimited users for $129 per month. So if you've got a lot of people in your practice, that comes out quite cheap.
Mhm.
Pixie is, as you can see, and if you have a look on my YouTube channel, is a really clear, simple, easy tool to use. Really good for workflow management. Just a nice, simple tool. Not quite as big and as collaborative as the Karbons of this world, but I think for a small practice, I think I would have probably taken Pixie on, although hasn't got that many integrations. So if you're wanting to write a letter of engagement, or if you're wanting to do a proposal, or if you want to send an invoice out to a client, I think you'd struggle a bit. So it is important to make sure that all of your pieces of software talk to each other, and making sure that works for you. Yeah. So those were the main ones that I was going to talk about today. There are a million and one other ones. I talk to customers over in North America, and they, every day I hear of new ones, and I will continue to flood my YouTube channel with free trials and unboxing different pieces of
Yeah.
software, just so that people can get an idea of what they look like. The other things I was going to just take them on through were some additional practice management tools, which are another couple of my favorites. One for proposals. I mean, it does what it says on the tin. Go proposals. So, if you're wanting to send out proposals to clients, then Go Proposal will absolutely do that for you. I think there is an add-on. They have an add-on for AML, and they have an add-on for engagement letters as well. Again, depending on what your budget is, but I've got some, I've had a look at that, and that does look like a very nice tool and integrates with quite a lot. I think it definitely integrates with Karbon. So yeah, and Bright Manager. So yeah, it's all about building up the tech stack, and that's the tricky bit. And then finally, Ignition, which used to be Practice Ignition. This bit deals with the billing and the getting paid as well. So many parts. And practice management is huge, like I keep saying. But this is all about automating your bills. For a lot of clients, I don't know how you work in your practice, Sushil, but a lot of clients, when I used to be in practice, are on monthly recurring subscriptions with you, which is a great way to be paid to manage your cash flow. But you've obviously still got to invoice them. So this will automate all of that for you. Yeah, and again, it's got a nice clear-cut billing structure here on how much you have to pay them to track all of that. So, yeah. Any questions on any of those so far?
Yes, so the problem with any accounting practice is that we spend way too much time in admin work, right? Chasing down customer or documents, or looking at emails, finding which emails had been sent by which clients, and also sending in reminders. Much of things happen in your team as well. You tell someone to do a thing, and there's no way to track whether it's been done or not. And like you said, people are on monthly recurring billings. Sometimes it gets out of your mind that you needed to do bookkeeping, or you needed to do compliance for such and such people, or the deadlines may differ from one client to another, and that takes a lot of admin work and also a lot of stress as well. And I think this practice management does help in, and I'm also inclined to believe Karbon that it saves a lot of that work, because most of our work is happening on the admin side of things and less on actually doing the work. And so practice management is quite a nifty tool to help us get rid of those admin related tasks.
1,000%. Yeah, I totally agree. That's what it's there to do. It's there to be your helping hand and make sure that you haven't got to stay up at night and make sure that you haven't ticked every box and you have done everything, because it will tell you that everything is done. They all integrate with things like Companies House, so they will bring in all of the deadlines for you. I mean, I remember having to look up every client on Companies House's website and type that in. And so you're pretty much guaranteed that you're not going to miss a deadline. It will force you to do that work automatically, and
Yes.
allocate that work to your team. But like I keep saying, it does take a bit of setting up.
Yeah.
You can't just get up and running within 24 hours. It does take a bit of setting up. But once you've done that, invested that time up front, you're off. And yeah, it really does help save a huge amount of time, like that Karbon slides suggested. I haven't tested
Yeah.
that myself. It's a crazy amount of time, and then frees up lots of time for all of your staff to do the actual work and get more clients and bill
Yeah.
more fees.
Yeah.
That's the aim of the game.
And
Yeah.
especially when it is tax time and when you are flooded with work, I think that is the time when it shows it what it can do. It shows its magic as well there, because right now it's tax season. We are approaching, I think, 3 days left to finish the tax season, and we are still chasing clients for some of the
Yeah.
documents. These tools would automatically send in those,
It
and
does, yeah. And one of them, I can't remember which one it is, it will actually send the client an SMS. Yeah, so it will send them text messages as well as emails to chase them for information. I used to have clients that I had one client, I won't name him, but it was male. And
mm,
he used to send me like all of his personal tax information on the 31st of December, on the deadline,
yeah,
literally every single year. It was hideous, and purely because he was just disorganized and hadn't checked his emails. So
mm,
if some of these tools are sending text messages as well, that might really help people.
yeah,
We've just got every which way how now to get in touch with people, and no excuses for clients anymore.
yeah,
It's a great personal organization system, that I would absolutely take on one of these, whichever one you fancy. And yeah, I'm fascinated by it all. So I keep trying up new ones. Every one, suits a different one. It's a big change. I think the
hmm
change management piece is huge. Why change what you've already got? But it's really
yeah.
worth investing that time.
Yeah, and one of the questions that I also do get from some of my friends who run their accounting practice is many of them are actually doing quite well with Excel and all the documentation uh, on different platforms, right? When should someone be looking at adopting a practice management software, do you think? Because there are efficiencies, there are benefits, but also there are cost involved. So the cost and benefit analysis, would someone be better off using a cloud-based practice management software rather than doing it the old-fashioned way?
In terms of the size of the practice, do you mean? I was thinking about when I used to run my practice,
Yeah.
which wasn't huge. And I think that I would have been very cost aware. I would have taken on one of the cheaper products, something like Pixie,
Mm.
because it would have suited me down to the ground, because it does what it says on the tin, and it would manage my 50 clients for me. I think it would depend on the number of clients you have.
Yeah.
If you've got 10 to 20 clients, you probably are okay doing that yourself. You'd probably would, you know, almost know them, so well that you'd be able to just ring them up and just say, look, hey, I need, and you've got the time to invest in chasing them yourself. But once you
Mm.
get beyond that level, I think it would make sense to make the
Yeah.
change to have this some solution that would manage it for you. And also they do things like, they will tell you when the client has signed the document, they do file sharing, and it's all very, very nice. And they have a client portal. So it makes your firm look a bit more professional as well if you've got one of these solutions, I think.
Yeah, and also
Yeah, I'd have a look.
I also think that let's say someone has a successful firm, but if you are involved in day-to-day running of the firm and not saving those time going on and reaching out to newer clients, then you are not growing as well. So you have a flat line. You have good revenue, you have good profit, but it is not increasing. So maybe you should adopt these early on so that you could free up some time to reach out to other clients and make those relationships and bring in more clients as well.
Definitely agree. And another thing that accountants tell me, and I was guilty of it, is that they give a lot of, I help people move into advisory, and a lot of people give advice away for free. And in something
Yeah.
like Go Proposal, you can literally outline all of your service offerings with a fee next to each one. So it almost forces you to think a bit more about your firm and what services you're offering, and not to start giving away all this advice for free, because actually, you're giving somebody some valued information that you should be charging for. So almost taking this software on forces you to have a good deep think about how you're running your firm and how
Mm-hmm.
it's almost revenue increasing opportunity, I think, because it's teaching you good habits. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would absolutely go for it. And yeah, I think in this day and age of AI coming on board and all of this software, it's something that if you're not ahead of the game with, you'll be behind your competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you more time to go out and get some more fees, which is the aim of the game.
Yeah. The more time you have to get more clients, then more revenue, and the circle continues there.
It does indeed. Yeah, it does.
And it's also great that it connects with your accounting software as well. So all the billings that you have done, it integrates to your accounting, and you do not have to invoice it yourself as well. So, and
Yes,
also when you are
yes,
connecting with
indeed.
other payment platforms as well, so you are billing on time as well, you are getting paid on time as well.
Yeah, yeah. And you haven't got to check that manually yourself. That will just happen in the background, which,
Mm.
it is one of those things that is a very boring admin task to go through, but
Yeah.
absolutely essential to make sure that the cash is going the right direction. Yeah.
Okay.
It will also automatically chase people that don't pay, Yeah. So in this day and age, I think it's absolutely essential.
Yeah. So the software, any software that you choose to use, it pays for itself on the collections that it is getting on time, and also the revenue it is helping us generate.
Definitely. Definitely. So going back to your original question, I'm thinking I would take it on with quite a few, pretty early on if I was setting up a new practice. I think there's no harm in doing so. It frees up your time,
Yeah.
which is, you know, that's what everyone wants. Everyone wants to spend their time doing something more interesting and
Yeah.
actually, making your time more valuable and billing more work, which is the aim of the game.
So now I want to ask you a very controversial question, maybe. Which
Go on.
which is your best practice management solution? If you had to suggest someone a solution, which one would feature on the top of your list?
The top of my list, I think I would say Karbon. Yeah, I would say Karbon, because if I was in, and I always ask every practice I speak to what their tech stack is. Karbon is a very popular one. I think there's a lot of development in it. It integrates with a lot of tools. I think the integrations are absolutely essential. And it has got that team collaboration on the emails, which is really, really nice. So
Yeah.
anybody looking at it will know exactly what's going on. And the other thing I haven't mentioned is it actually looks at the efficiency of your own practice. So it will look at all of the team members and who is recovering the most time, who is recovering the least time,
Yeah.
who's billing the most time, so which is quite nice. So yeah, but it's the most expensive, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my. So if you're a very small practice, there would
Mm.
probably be no need to have all of that and AI involved in it. I mean, some tools are starting to get AI in them. I don't know if you would need it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the controversial question answered.
Sure. If you can pay for Carbon, then go ahead, but you could just start with any solution, and maybe when you reach a certain point, you can then transition that way as well. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely, definitely, yeah.
Nice. So, any final thoughts on the whole practice management solution?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention is that I was talking to somebody this week who said, yeah, it's all very well and good. I really like Carbon, for example, but he said that actually I want a solution that will do company secretarial for me as well. The changing directors or changing shareholders or lodging confirmation statements. There are other tools that do that for you. I've just listed a few here. TaxCut's a nice, really simple one that does it. Iris does it. Digita, Inform Direct. So, yeah, there's always that to bear in mind, the company secretarial side. It's just such a big beast, practice management.
Yeah.
My final thoughts are really definitely consider what software you already have in your practice and make sure that whichever one you take on integrates with it, because you don't want any cloud software to be standalone. That would be highly irritating. I'm happy to chat to anybody who wants to find out more about any of those solutions or any others that they're interested in. There are, like I said, all sorts of developments going on. The
Yeah.
marketplace is changing. Like, I can't keep up with it so quickly. I do have discount codes. If anybody would like to sign up for free trials, then please let me know. I might be able to get it a little bit cheaper for you. And I also have a YouTube channel, which I've just recently started. So I'd be really interested to hear feedback on that. That is software unboxing, I'm calling it. So literally, it's my independent thoughts on what each piece of software looks like. It's good fun.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying doing that.
And if someone wants to reach out to you, then there's the YouTube channel, and you all are also available at LinkedIn, right?
Yes. So my LinkedIn profile is linked there, and I have also I've put my email address there as well. So yeah, you can get me a couple of ways, but please
Yeah.
do get a hold of me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
Yeah, I'll put all the links in the description, so you can directly reach out to Mel through her YouTube, through her website, or through email, or through LinkedIn. So there are a lot of ways to reach out to Mel if you want to talk to her about the tech stack you want to put up in your firm and which would be better.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Sushil.